In the annals of ancient Egypt, few figures have as much historical significance as Pharaoh Ramesses I. His reign marked the beginning of the greatest dynasty in Egyptian history, the Fifth Dynasty 19, also known as the Ramessid Dynasty. His profound impact on the course of Egyptian civilization was further magnified by his role as the father of Seti I and the grandfather of Ramses II, one of Egypt's most illustrious pharaohs. Ramses' ascension to power in 1292 BC occurred during a pivotal period known as the Amarna transition, a period of great political and religious upheaval. From a humble background, Ramesses I began his career as an outstanding military official during the reign of Pharaoh Horemheb. When Horemheb died, Ramesses I seized the opportunity to establish his own dynasty, bringing stability and prosperity to Egypt after a period of turmoil. Please hit the like button, share and subscribe to the channel. You'll never miss a video and help us deliver even more great content. Click that like button and sign up today. Ramesses I was born into a noble military family in the Nile Delta, possibly near the former Hyksos capital Avaris. He was not of royal lineage but hailed from an outstanding military background. His father, Seti, served as an army commander. Adding to his family's popularity, Ramesses' uncle, Khemwaset, an army officer, was married to Tamwajasi, a woman in King Amen's harem during Tutankhamun's reign. Tamwajasi was related to Amenhotep Hoi, viceroy of Kush, an important position in the state. This further proves the high status of the Ramesses family. Ramesses I shares sympathy with Horemheb, the last pharaoh of the turbulent 18th dynasty. Horemheb, recognizing Ramesses' abilities, appointed him as his vizier. Prior to assuming this role, Ramesses I served as high priest of Set. In this capacity, he played an important role in restoring the traditional Amarna religion, which had been initiated a generation earlier by Akhenaten. Horemheb, like Ramesses I, was not of royal blood but rose to prominence in the Egyptian army. He served as royal advisor to both Tutankhamun and I before ascending the throne himself. Since Horemheb had no surviving children, he chose Ramesses I as his successor during the last years of his reign. The administrative capacity of Ramesses I, coupled with the presence of his son, Seti I, and grandson, the future Ramesses II, ensured a smooth and stable transition to the dynasty. Consolidation of power was a paramount task for Ramesses I. Upon his accession to the throne, he implemented a series of administrative reforms aimed at restoring the Egyptian state. His keen focus on reorganizing the military structure strengthened Egypt's defenses, ensuring the kingdom's security. Furthermore, Ramesses I embarked on ambitious construction projects that not only brought jobs and economic growth but also rejuvenated the nation's infrastructure. After ascending the throne, Ramesses took the prenomen, also known as the royal name. This transliteration, commonly interpreted as Menpetire, has the profound connotation of established by the power of Ra. However, he is better known by his own nickname. Transliterated as Ramesu or Ramesses, it means Ra gave birth to him. Despite being elderly at the time of his coronation, Ramesses displayed keen foresight by appointing his son, the future pharaoh Seti I, as crown prince and designated as his successor. Ramesses' reign saw notable military efforts, especially to regain Egypt's lost possessions in the Syria region. These efforts underscored his determination and skill in defending and expanding the kingdom's dominion. While participating in military campaigns, Ramesses also displayed a tight grasp of domestic affairs. A particularly notable achievement during his reign was the completion of the third tower at the Temple of Karnak. This monumental project was begun during the reign of his predecessor, Horemheb, and Ramesses watched it to the end. By assuming responsibility for such great works of architecture, Ramesses demonstrated his commitment to both religious and political stability. Karnak Temple, a place of great importance and sacred significance, is a testament to the magnificence and devotion of the pharaohs. Ramesses' leadership and dedication. Overseeing the completion of this monumental work further cemented his reputation as a capable and visionary ruler. Perhaps Ramesses' most enduring legacy, however, lies in the family and dynastic relationships he forged. His son, Seti I, followed his father's vision and extended Egyptian influence even further. However, it was his grandson, Ramses II, who truly embodied the splendor and greatness of the 19th dynasty. Ramses II's reign would go on to define an era of Egypt's prosperity and splendor. The founding of this illustrious dynasty laid the foundations for a golden era in history, where subsequent pharaohs left indelible marks on the cultural, political and military landscape. Ramesses' reign was short, evident in the scarcity of contemporary monuments dedicated to him. The limited time as king prevented the construction of important structures, and he was laid to rest in a small tomb, hastily prepared by the new priests assigned to the Temple of Ptah in the Egyptian fortress of Buin. Notably, Ramesses' death came just 5 months later, in June 1290 BC, when his son Seti I took power at the Nubian temple in Buin. During the reign of Seti I, the construction of a chapel and temple at Abydos, initiated by Ramesses I, was completed. The burial of Ramesses I took place in the famous Valley of the Kings. Discovered in 1817 by archaeologist Giovanni Belzoni and designated KV-16, his tomb is testament to the hasty nature of the creative process. His grave is quite amputated, only 29 meters long. The tomb's diminutive size shows the hasty nature of its construction. Inside, a single hallway leads to an unfinished room decorated with hastily plastered walls. The paintings depict the king and his gods, centered on Osiris, who holds a prominent position. The red granite sarcophagus, instead of inscriptions, was painted ornate, possibly due to time constraints and the standardized process of the time. Seti I, his son and successor, later erected a small church in Abydos, decorated with intricate reliefs, as a memorial to his late father. In 1911, some of these fine reliefs were generously donated by John Pierpont Morgan to the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. Another remarkable discovery about him was an ancient stela depicting Amun ascending the throne, with the presence of Mut standing firmly behind him, decorated with a majestic double crown. These awe-inspiring artifacts are attributed to Ramesses I, a pharaoh whose reign unfortunately waned over time. This important find was unveiled at the Petrie Egyptian Archaeological Museum in London, a renowned institution dedicated to preserving and exhibiting the wonders of ancient Egypt. Here, in the midst of a treasure trove of historical sites, the fragment of the stele stands as a tangible link to a bygone era. An age marked by the divine ascension of Amun in the presence of Mut. A mummy believed to be Ramesses I was stolen from Egypt and displayed in a private museum in Canada for a long time before being repatriated. Although the identity of the mummy cannot be definitively confirmed, extensive research conducted by experts at Emory University has provided strong evidence that it is indeed Ramesses I. This conclusion is based on detailed examinations, including CT scans, X-rays radiography, skull measurements and radiocarbon dating, as well as cosmetic comparisons with other family members. An intriguing aspect of the mummy is the position of its arms, which were found deliberately crossed across the chest, a pose reserved only for the venerable Egyptian royal family until 600 BC. This distinctive feature adds weight to the argument that the mummy could actually be that of Ramesses I. The mummy's journey to private collectors stems from the nefarious activities of the Abu Rasul family, notorious grave robbers who stole mummies from the precious royal cache in Deir el-Bahari. Eventually, the mummy was found in Luxor, where it was sold to Dr. James Douglas by Mustafa Aga Ayat, deputy representative of the Turkish consulate. Dr. Douglas then shipped the mummy to North America around 1860. Notably, Dr. Douglas had previously purchased Egyptian antiquities for his acquaintance, Sidney Barnett. The person who later placed this particular mummy in the Niagara Falls Museum in Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. For more than 130 years, the mummy has remained a mystery, its true identity still hidden. The turning point in the mummy's fate came when the museum owner decided to divest. Canadian businessman William Jameson, realizing the historical significance of these artifacts, purchased them. In collaboration with Canadian Egyptologist Gail Gibson, they embarked on a meticulous assessment, revealing the immense value of the collection. In 1999, Jameson successfully sold Egyptian antiquities. One of his prized acquisitions was the mummy believed to be that of Ramesses I. In 2003, the mummy was officially brought back to Egypt, bearing the main name. It is fully understood and is now on display at the Luxor Museum, a profound return to the homeland of this illustrious figure from antiquity. Today, the great achievements of the 19th dynasty are testaments to Ramesses' foresight and leadership. As we explore the pages of history, his name still stands, forever remembered and inscribed as a pharaoh whose contributions paved the way for a great golden age of Egypt. Please consider hitting the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for your support, and I can't wait to see you in the upcoming videos.